A very warm good morning, dear students. Dear students, in the previous class we had already dealt with the later Vedic period, and now we have, I think, uh, early Vedic, later Vedic period. Okay, later Vedic period we had already seen. Now we need to see the early. Okay, early Vedic period we had seen, right? So now we have started later Vedic period. Okay, it's actually the revision. So this part you can just note down these answers. Okay, answer the following questions. I think we had already started, no? Which area was covered by the Kurus in the later Vedic age? What did they call it? These things we had previously we had seen, right? Hmm? Which area was covered by the Kurus in the later Vedic age? What did they call it? Hmm? So that is one we had seen already. No, page number 83 we have seen. So please just go through these answers which I have given to you. Okay, you can just go through those answers. You see, uh, 83. No, the king. You see, the Kurus. The Kurus occupied life in the later Vedic period. You can just see that the Kurus occupied the region around the Delhi, and we called it Kurukshetra. So that is So that the places are there. Hastinapur was their capital, and the Kurus combined with the Panchalas ruled over the region of Bareilly, Badaun, and Farukabad. Farukabad, to establish their authority over Delhi and the Doab region. Okay, so this part is clear. Hmm? Now let us see the next question. There was the battle between the Kauravas. Where was the battle between the Kauravas and Pandavas fought? That was in a Kurukshetra, we have already seen. And what role did Raj Purohita play in the later Vedic age? Hmm? So what was the role of Raj Purohita? He was actually giving advices, no? He was actually giving the advices to the king. Actually, good advices. No? He was giving Raj Purohita. The main function of Raj Purohita was giving the advices to the king. Hmm? Okay. Raja performed elaborate rituals and gave advice. Mainly, he was performing elaborate rituals, as well as he was giving advice. He was actually giving the advice also. Hmm? Raj Purohita performed actually elaborate rituals, and the same time you can see that he gave advice too. Okay. Now let us see the some of the things there. Which two sacrifices did the king perform? Hmm? Which are the two sacrifices the king? Hmm? Okay, we have seen Rajasuya, and Ashwamedha. No, these were actually the two sacrifices done by the king. You see, and you know that king himself called as Maharajadi Raja, or and the Samrat. And the kings often performed the Rajasuya, that's what it is written, no? The Rajasuya sacrifice and the Ashwamedha or horse sacrifice to make a show of their powers. They performed Rajasuya sacrifice and Ashwamedha or horse sacrifice to make show of their powers. Okay, so that also I think you might have understood this part. The next one is next. What is the next question? Next question. What is the next question? Write a short note on the Samaveda and Yajurveda Gurukul system of education, Vedic mathematics. Samaveda and Yajurveda, those things you must study already. Samaveda and Yajurveda, the Vedas. Vedas we have already seen. Okay, page number 86 answer Samveda. Okay, the Samveda actually is a collection of verses of the Rig Veda set to music. Samveda is that. Samveda is actually the collection of verses of the Rig Veda, which is set to music. And Yajurveda contains canons or which were followed during the observance of different rituals and the yajnas. So that time only. Canons means what is that? Canon, a collection of list or sacred books accepted as genuine. So that was what no. Okay. Samveda, the Yajurveda contains canons which were followed during the observance of different rituals and yajnas. So you need to keep in your mind these things. Now the next one is about Gurukul system of education. That I think we need not explain too much. Gurukul system, you know that what was the Gurukul system of education? What was system existing at that time? Gurukul system means what? The students were going to the residence or to the house of the house of guru or the teacher. Pupils, the students, they used to go to the house of the teacher, and there the teacher used to teach him, and instead of giving the education to the child or the students, in return what they were offering, they were not giving the fees, but they were helping the guru in all the aspects of the household duties. They were helping guru to do all the household works. So that way they were rendering service to the gurus. Okay, and also you know that at the end, maybe the richest people, the sense the students, the richest students will be giving some special gifts to the gurus. So Gurukul system of education, where the students, they used to go to the guru's house and used to stay with the gurus, and they were just supporting the guru to do all the household activities. That was a Gurukul system of education, right? So now that is clear. Now what is the question? Next one is the Vedic mathematics answer. So we go to the Vedic mathematics. I studied about the Vedic mathematics. I think you have studied already about the Vedic mathematics. It's given in the book. That is, it is given like this. Vedic mathematicians had developed the decimal system of tens, hundreds, thousands, and it has been said that the introduction of zero or the shunya at the Indians called marks, as the Indians called it, marks one of the most, the zero, that is marking one of the most important developments of the entire history of mathematics. The zero has contributed a great impact on the or for the development of the entire history of mathematics. Okay, the earliest Indian numeral appear in a script called Brahmi. So the earliest Indian numeral, the earliest Indian numeral appear in a script called Brahmi. Okay, so just keep in your mind these answers, and you can just go ahead. You can just go ahead. The next one is next question. What is the next question is? Next question is that what changes took place in the religious life of the people in the later Vedic age? Explain why Brahmins became powerful. What changes took place? You see, what are the changes took place in the life of the people in the later Vedic age? Explain why Brahmins became powerful. See, so there was a lot of things you need to understand here. No, the Jadi system came. It was not existing late. No, early Vedic period we don't see that much Jadi system, and after that coming of this system, you see that this period you see lot of Jadi system is coming into play. You see, artisans and craftsmen produce goods of the quality, and they were organized two guilds. They were organized into guilds. They were organized into guilds. The guilds, again, you can see they are regulated. The guilds actually they were regulating the prices, and these professions became, and this actually these professions became hereditary with time and constituted subcastes or jadis. Actually, this based on this profession, based on the profession, the hierarchy was determined, decided. Okay, so according to the profession, what work a person is doing, according to the profession, the hierarchy was decided. No, it was the hierarchy was decided according to the profession, what work one is doing. So that was the base. Based on that, it was the hierarchy was decided. Okay, so I hope that you understood this. Now, why did trade flourish with the emergence of towns? Trade, trade wise, that actually it is taking place. In short, we can say the trade is actually taking place in the towns only. Transportation, all these things are possible. More facilities that are there in the towns only. So, roads and other transformation, what we can say, the transport facilities, not transformation, but the transport facilities are more there in the towns only compared to that of the village and so on. So village, if you take the case of village, the transportation facilities will be very less. But when we come to the what we can say, the towns, we can see lot of transportation facilities are available. Okay, that is the transportation facilities available here. So now we can just take the photo study questions. You see there you can see, look at the picture and answer the following questions. What stage of life is being depicted? What stage of life is being depicted in the picture? So we have seen that is actually the picture of Gurukul system of education. No, this is what it is meant here. No, the Gurukul system of education. So how was education imparted during this period? That is what we have just seen. This time the education was imparted which way? The students, the pupils, they are going to the house of the guru, the teacher, and they are learning the lessons from the teacher. Okay, and in return, what they do? The children or the students, what they do? They help the teacher or the guru in doing household activities. So in return, the guru will be imparting knowledge to the students. That was the thing they were following. Who? The guru, or we can say the Gurukul system was practicing that. Okay, so maybe the richest people, those who are wishing to give some gifts to the teacher after completing their education, they used to give only that much. Okay, otherwise they were not giving any money as a, or a fees like that, but that was the system they were practicing. Okay, so I think that part is clear for you, no? Name the other three asrama. Hmm? Asramas we have already seen. Which are the other asramas? Already first one Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. So what do you understand by this Grihastha asrama? One is getting married, no? These are actually the 25 years of an individuals after getting married. That is mad. Okay, that is actually for a meant for a marriage and leading a life of a householder. So that is what meant by the Grihastha asrama. And then we have go to the next one, that is the Vanaprastha asrama, that is the another 25 years of an individual's life, and that is meant for meditation, living the life of a hermit in a forest. That is what the Vanaprastha asrama is. No, the next 25 years of an individual's life, that is actually meant for a meditation and living the life of a hermit in a forest. So that is what, no? And then next one is sannyasa asrama. So sannyasa asrama means this stage marked the last years of an individual's life. That is actually marking the last years of an individual's life, and it is actually meant renunciation at giving up all earthly pleasures. So just giving up what all things we are having, we are just giving up all the earthly pleasures. Okay, when we come to this last level, we are just completely, sannyasa means completely renouncing everything. We are not giving up all the earthly possessions and leading a very, very, very simple life. That is what the sannyasa asrama is. Okay, so these things are, I think, clear for you. Okay, we have already seen the fill in the blanks, right? We have seen already the fill in the blanks. Now about Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism also, mainly you just see when it was started, the timeline. Just go through this timeline, and then you can just see what is Buddhism meant. Actually, who was Buddha? These things, the life of Buddha, what changes his life, how he became Buddha, what was his original name, all these things you keep in your mind. Okay, but I have told you, just go through the chapter. So please you understand the life that changes. No, the life of how the life of Buddha changed. He was, you know, that he was leading a very comfortable life in the palace. Once he realizes that there is sufferings in the world, you know, that he wanted to find out what is the cause of the suffering, and he just goes in search of the cause of suffering, and he finds the cause for the suffering, that desire is the cause of the suffering. And in order to overcome this desire, or in order to overcome this suffering, it is to kill the desire. That means to avoid the desires, so that we can be away from these kind of sufferings. So he is just coming to a conclusion that a man is never satisfied with what he is having. That is the cause of suffering. So if we are satisfied with what we are having, so we can overcome the suffering. But if we are not satisfied with what we are having actually, then surely there will be sufferings in the world. So that is what the message of Buddhism. In the same way, you can just go through this chapter once again, so you'll get the idea. Just go through this timeline and so once again.